you see what's going on with AIPAC right now, and you see how they're getting involved in a lot of these races. Hats off to not just Summer Lee for fighting off AIPAC, but Thomas Massie was able to fight off AIPAC the other day as well. The lady, Sulila, I think is how you say her name, Jayapal, Pramila Jayapal's sister, could get into the whole thing about nepotism and all that crap, but she ran for Congress in Oregon's, I think, 3rd district and did not win. The person who did win got millions of dollars from AIPAC. I'm curious if you think, knowing Debbie's MO and the fact that from her perspective, she would rather be running and nobody know about it, do you see a scenario where AIPAC coming after our friend would not be good for Debbie? Because any attention that is drawn to somebody who's running against her is likely going to end up being a net positive for the candidate in question, even if the ads are being done as a mode of attack. I could see a case potentially where they may not get involved in this race. How do you ultimately see it shaping out?
Absolutely. I think you're looking at basically art of war type stuff, obviously political war, but you would use that strength against them. Absolutely, it's problematic. In this environment, we've already seen Biden making all kinds of, he's in a weird place at his level. So that's trickling down to everybody. You don't want that AIPAC label at this point. Not right now. It's too risky. So I don't know exactly how it would play there, but I know that would be a risk for sure.
The thing I think people really underestimate when we're talking about Trump, for example, is that he just knows how to win. Does he truly believe everything that he says regarding that Israel totally could do whatever, blah, blah, blah? As far as I'm concerned, he knows that he's in the driver's seat, and anything that is going to drive a wedge into Biden is the object. There is no other play. The play is to just simply win the race. And so whether he's truly going to be like, oh, yeah, Israel could do what it wants, or I'll take it a step further. I know there are people who suggest that Trump will take it a step further. Again, you don't know because he's not there. The only thing you do know is that the economic circumstances of this country is in a very bad way right now. That is without what's going on in Gaza, but you throw that into the mix, and you really have to wonder at this point, what is the strategy? Because it could end up becoming a landslide if they're not careful. Like that's how I think detrimental this particular circumstance is right now. And I agree with you that tagging along with AIPAC in any capacity could ultimately end up being your undoing. I think we'll really have a good idea about it in a couple of weeks, depending on what happens in Jamal Bowman's race with that guy Latimer, because that's the race that they're really stuffing a lot of money into. Mm-hmm. But I agree with you. I think that there has been sort of an emboldenment moment happening right now where people are basically looking at AIPAC and basically doing as Jen has been doing, which is to say, bring it. You want a piece of me? Come and get it.
Yeah. With the laws, so my thought would be, are they going to go dark money? I don't know all the campaign finance laws and all that. Is there a way that they would go? Because, I don't know if you've seen this blow up. There's this great person on X named Mel, Village Crazy Lady, who's been going through the filings and seeing the small donations coming through. It looks like AI or something through Act Blue. This is from Republicans and Democrats, are using people's name to funnel big money through to make it look like small donations. Have you followed that at all?
Yeah, I've seen those types of things happen before, where basically what will happen is they'll get these substantially large donations, but then they'll put out these mass email campaigns, for example, and ask you to just donate $1, because what will end up happening is it'll balance out the number sheet. So if somebody donates 10 grand and then you get 100 people that donate $1, then your donation average drops all the way down to, whatever the number is, $50, $35. It ends up looking a lot better on paper, when in reality, it's a completely corporate funded, effort. And when they're constantly saying that you're all just you're all the donors who are getting involved with AIPAC or DMFI, any of those organizations that are part of the Israel lobby, that they're all just a bunch of Trump donors or GOP donors. No, what they are is that they're corporate donors, and they donate to both political parties. What they don't donate to are non-corporate candidates. Now, unfortunately, we don't have a lot of them, which is why somebody like Thomas Massie is such an outlier within the GOP. But they came at him hard. They threw $400,000 in a race that they knew that Massie was ultimately going to win, and of course, he won in a landslide. But they're basically trying to let you know that they're willing to come after anybody if they're not willing to walk this fine line. I just don't think that they're going to be able to sustain this, because I think they bit off more than they can chew this time. And I think that the ramifications of the genocide is very real.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy, though? Let's look at the GOP side just for a second. Thomas Massie is literally the only one who you would say is, I don't even want to say anti-AIPAC. He's not even anti-AIPAC. It's weird. But, the only one that will challenge the Israel lobby. Is that correct?
As far as anybody in the GOP, I don't know if there's anybody else, but he definitely is a standalone representative. He is very special. I've always had respect for him because of the fact that he doesn't meet with corporate lobbyists and he doesn't take corporate money, which is obviously a rare thing in the GOP. But that is definitely something that should be admired, because that is the way of the future. I think we are accelerating to that point where people are looking around and saying, this really should be how it should be always. This shouldn't be an outlier. This should be how it is forever. We don't need corporate special interest money influencing our political system. And that has been going on, obviously, for way too long. And as sad as it is, it usually takes a monumental circumstance like what's going on right now for people to look around and say, okay, I've had enough of this. This is way too far. This is way too much. I am not going to be, on board with a genocide. There is no way to deny what is going on right now. They try to deny it, but you can only sweep it under the rug for so very long. And, we have been able to meet a number of people down here that are Palestinian, that are Muslim, that have lost family, that are suffering immensely. I mean, I've met people that have lost 30 family members. It's insane.